Put your hands together. We're coming to you live from Chicago, Illinois, the international headquarters of the Rainbow Push Coalition, 930 East 50th Street. We are so glad to have you here. June 28th through July 2nd, we want you to get ready and come to our international convention. Reverend Jackson is going to talk to us about the Push Tech Summit that was in Silicon Valley just this past week. We are working year-round, 24/7, 365, bringing our people all over the world together. Put your hands together for the Nelson Choir out of Sweden. They come and they are with us every year, and we can't wait to hear from them. Just a little later today, 773-FREEDOM, 773-FREEDOM. We want you to call us throughout the week. We want you to be involved in our international conference. We definitely need you there. We just see one of the great business leaders of our community who just got an honorary degree from Colby University, Colby College, actually. John Rogers of Ariel Capital Investment. Everybody put your hands together for him this week. Absolutely. Princeton alum. And he's done so many great things. And one of the things that we love about John Rogers, beyond his brilliance, is that he keeps coming around. He's not a stranger to us. He is always giving. He's opened schools. He's giving scholarships. He's always giving back to the community. Put your hands together for John Rogers one more time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, we want to thank the Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas here at Rainbow Push at 930 East 50th Street. If you call 773-FREEDOM, if you're having issues with your property taxes, she wants you to come right here so that we can get that rectified. Amen? Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Call us at 773-FREEDOM if you have any questions. The Push HBC Alumni First Friday After Work Push Convention Get Together will be at the Drink House at 820 West Jackson, right down the street from my old alma mater, Whitney Young Magnet High School. Amen. So if anybody, Howard's in the house, but whoever else went to an HBCU, come on over to the Drink House because we're getting everybody organized for our convention, June 28th through July 2nd. And we're going to be having a convention meeting here on Friday. Can you believe it's June already, everybody? Oh, wow. June 7th at 11 a.m. right here at the Rainbow Push headquarters, again at 930 East 50th Street. Dr. Charles Whitaker, Dean of Medill School of Journalism, deserves our congratulations. And what about Dr. Lonnie Bunch, who brought us the African American Museum? He is the first African American to head up the entire Smithsonian Institution. Give him a round of applause. And do I see myself on the list? Guess what? You know, there are more than 2,000 talk radio stations in the United States of America. Do you know there are only about 7 that are progressive? Even though we're winning the votes, even though we have got the votes, even though we actually won, Hillary Clinton is the rightful president if you have one person, one vote. But guess what? We don't have a voice. Well, I'll be doing Morning Drive on the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, WCPT, from 6 to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. I hope that you will be joining me Monday through Friday. And of course, join Reverend Jackson and Santita Jackson. But this is the Keep Hope Alive with Reverend Jesse Jackson radio show. Tomorrow morning from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be talking about impeachment. To impeach, not to impeach. What did Special Counsel Mueller do? Should he be brought to testify before Congress? What happened in 2016 and why does it concern you? Well, guess what? If you call us at 1-866-594-HOPE, 1-866-594-4673, we're going to talk all about it with Reverend Jackson and Malcolm Nance, Reverend Jackson, and so many other, Colleen Rowley, great intelligence professionals who can break this issue down for us. In fact, we've got our engineer in the house, Jeremy Geiger. Give him some love because he's going to spend the night at the station to get us up on the air tomorrow. Of course, we are sending our love to everyone in Virginia Beach. Can you believe what happened? 13 people now, 13 people have been killed. 4 people are in intensive care as we speak. We're sending our love to those families because they need our love, and we need to figure out where the gun violence is coming from, why it's here. But more than that, we need to look at why violence is here. Didn't Dr. King talk about violence in America? He was not talking about just gun violence, but violence. Indeed, President Carter was reached out to by President Trump, and he said, why is it that China is moving so far ahead of us so fast? He said, well, first, China is investing in infrastructure and not in war. Amen. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, and I'm going to be talking about that this week on 8:20 a.m. That's right. WCPT 8:20. That's right. 6 to 8 a.m. Everybody, we want you to send some love to one of our longest serving members. No one has put in more time in push and in the struggle for human rights than Gurnell Sims. She needs our love today. Come on, put your hands together. Give her some love. We love her. We love her. And the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, Edward Seaga, made his transition. Larry Rogers, we are sending you love on the passing of your brother Dwight Rogers. The former president of Noble, the national president. This is the black law enforcement. These people, whenever Reverend Jackson, you know, down through the years, Reverend has faced a good many threats against his life. And Noble would always step to the fore, and give him protection. And so we want to send love to their former head, Jimmy Wilson, who made his transition. Everybody put your hands together for all of these announcements. And here in Chicago, CVS, the iconic school. Hey, Felicia, got to see you on WCIU from what time? 6 to 8. You going to be with me too? But that's all right. I'm going to get you on my show. We're going to do a little bit of split. I love her. She is great. We're going to move her on to national TV because that's where Felicia needs to be, everybody. Put your hands together. Absolutely. Sitting with her husband, the head who owns the Drink House, where we're going to be on Friday, right? All right. We already made that announcement. Everybody put your hands together for this video that we've got coming. We were at our tech conference, and so we want you to watch. Okay, are you gonna, oh, and she came in here today working it out. Come on, girl.
Okay.
Where am I?
Okay.
With no video, we have who? Okay. Now, what's your name?
I'm Karen Yarbrough. I'm the Cook County Clerk. Yeah, you can give me some love. So I'm here today because I participated in a study that was done about the west side and south side of Chicago. Some of you who are older, in the 50s and 60s, there were some discriminatory practices as it relates to real estate. People lost their homes, people were exploited, and the report has just come out, and we wanted to bring that information here today. Now, Reverend Jackson is going to be working on this issue, but we have to rise up. We don't have to go back to slavery for reparations. Now, this happened within our lifetimes, where our ancestors and our mothers, our fathers, our grandmothers, and grandfathers were exploited and their properties taken away from them. So the Contract Buyers League, does anybody know what the Contract Buyers League is? Yeah, I know some folks know about that. So that's how people used to purchase their properties. They never got any equity. If you missed one payment, you got tossed out. So Reverend, we got work to do. We've got work to do. Now, I would acknowledge the fact that there are a number of publications out there, but this is a seminal work. It has documented these things. I was the Cook County Recorder of Deed. We opened up our office so that they could do the research. Now the research is in. We've got a lot of work to do. We need to make sure these people, you know, there's a problem in our community as it relates to generational wealth. Other people were able to have, you know, to uplift themselves. We weren't able to do that, but that's because, you know, there's a reason why they call it race. There's an absolute reason why they call it race. So Reverend, I brought the report to you today. I'll be sitting down with the Westside Black elected officials tomorrow. We got to get legislators involved in this so that they can start putting forth some legislation so we can get something done about that. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Okay? Reverend just wanted me to say it's over $3 billion that was stolen from African Americans on the west side of Chicago and the south side of Chicago. We got to do something about that. God bless you all.
Oh, put your hands together, everybody. They started redlining right here in Chicago. We've got to do something about it. And we want you to receive one of our young people. We have to thank Judge Hill for all of the work that he does with these young orators. You know, speaking before the public can be one of the most frightening things that you ever want to do. But as he works with our young people, it's one of the most empowering acts for them. So everybody put your hands together for this sophomore. That's right, from Iowa State University, Tajane Ashcroft. Put your hands together, everybody. Come on, show her some love.
Good morning. I shall recite for you a short excerpt from Shirley Chisholm's Brooklyn announcement. I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America. Now, I am not the candidate of a Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movements of this country, although I am a woman, and I am equally proud of that. I am not the candidate of any political bosses or special interests. I do not intend to offer to you the tired and glib cliches which for too long have been an accepted part of our political lives. I am the candidate of the people of America, and my presence before you now symbolizes a new era in American political history. I have faith in the American people. I believe that we are smart enough to correct our mistakes, intelligent enough to recognize the talent, energy, dedication which all Americans, including women and minorities, have to offer. I know from my travels to the cities and small towns of America that we have a vast potential which can and must be used. Today, we have an individual here who said that a leader must be tough enough to fight, tender enough to cry, human enough to make mistakes, humble enough to admit them, strong enough to absorb the pain, and resilient enough to bounce back and keep on moving. An individual who has been a manifestation of the word leader. Someone who told me that I am somebody. It is with great honor that I introduce to some and present to others, Reverend Jesse L. Jackson, Sr.
You can turn and walk away. At the end of this day, sing, I am.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Respect me, protect me, never neglect me. I am somebody. Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence, save the children. Stop the violence, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Oh, help me sing it. I am. Yeah, yeah. I am. Yeah. At the end of this day, they can try to walk away, but say, I am. I am. I am. One more time, say, I am. God made me so I am. Yeah. You can turn and walk away, but at the end of this day, say, I am.
Put your hands together. Brother Maurice Mahan and the National Gospel Swedish Choir. National Gospel Swedish Choir. Won't you stand, National Gospel Swedish Choir? Let them stand. Stand and give them our special guest. We'll make several basic observations today. Number one, our special guests, they come every year. And it really is hosted by Brother Brian Jones, the National Swedish. Give them a big hand. These are our special guests. All the youth who are listening today, it's graduation time for high school students. In Chicago alone, there are 20,000 plus high school students eligible to register and vote. 4 million across the nation. The more 18-year-olds than there are 81-year-olds. You have the power in your hand. Someone was asked the other night when Kamala Harris was doing a town hall meeting in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm 18-year-old, what does my vote mean? Well, you should vote because you have the right to be a juror. You vote because you're charged as an adult when you engage in some kind of crime. You should vote, you should register and vote because you fight for scholarships. You should register and vote because you can fight for better teachers. Say, students should register and vote. Vote to be a juror. Vote for more scholarships. Vote for teacher pay. Vote for health care. Vote for jobs that pay. Vote for justice. Vote for peace. Put your hands together. Our hearts go out in a very special, painful way today for the young people killed in Virginia Beach. We seem to be catching on so slow. More than 1 million have been killed with gunfire since Dr. King was killed in 1960. More than 1 million. It's now every week. It's just a matter of a body count. We must stop the killing, stop the guns. The guns will kill us all. And your name is in the lottery. Say, my name is in the lottery. You don't have to be guilty to be crucified. You be innocent on your job, in your church, in your synagogue, in your mosque, until you stop the access, automatic weapons. None of us please, let's pray for the students, people killed Virginia Beach today. Whoever you are, put your hands on your television, radio, homes that face the painful tragedy of death. We'll open more gun shops and closing mental health facilities. More killers and less doctors. We need help, dear God. Have mercy upon us. Have mercy and see us through. It's a dark night, but when the morning cometh, you are God, and you're the source of light and hope and possibility. We make our supplication to you today. Amen. For those of you who are watching today, wherever you are today, maybe I see you in the airports and around the country, we support you well. Call Push Right 773-FREEDOM, 773-373-3366, or 773-256-2775. So 773-2775. Join Push today in Philadelphia, in Arkansas, Mississippi, Florida, New York, South Carolina, whoever you are. Let's fight back. We need you to join the Rainbow Push today. We're going to talk more in the weeks to come about a massive registration drive in South Carolina. A young African-American man is running for governor of South Carolina. We can win there. See, if we believe and conceive, we can achieve. If we believe, we can become governor of South Carolina or Georgia or Mississippi. We can. There's power in the ex-slave states. When the ex-slave states break off those plantations, and sons and daughters of former slaves and former slave masters have the power to redeem the soul of America. Last, before our special guest sing for us again today, they were here from Always Ever Prepared, Jonathan Jackson, is that June 28th, July 2nd is our convention. On that Friday at noontime, the president of the International Pension will speak to us, and a presidential candidate, let you know next week who that will be. But the workers, that several million workers in America work, they're called part-time workers. They work up to the date before they have to get full benefits to lay them off. They rehire them next week to avoid paying them health care and benefits. That's a scam on workers. Workers who work these big box stores must fight back. Workers working away in poverty. They cannot get Medicaid. They cannot get health care. We're going to fight for those workers. That's what that is about. That night is our educational banquet. Focus on how to get, it's bad, one thing for inner city youth to have less facilities, fewer foreign languages, students say in the suburbs, but to take the same exam. So you go to a school where you've been studying the exam, they teach you 5 languages. You're studying the exam in preparation, and then you take the exam, you do well. So who don't have foreign language in their schools, who cannot earn a decent living to stay in a warm house during the time. One scores high, one scores low. So there's nothing wrong with us, something wrong with the system. Whenever we have an even playing field, rules are public, and goals are clear, we can win. So that's what it's about. In that Saturday, we're going to be thank Bishop Horace Smith. But the Apostolic Church that Saturday morning, we have a massive civil rights rally that day, Saturday. I think it must be Saturday, June 31st. June 30th, 29th. And that Sunday night, we're going to have a massive gospel choir concert that Sunday. Monday morning is health care. Noontime, the women's luncheon you are watching today. It's always a big event headed up by my wife, Jackie. And then on that night, we have the sports banquet. It's life beyond the playing field. Sports is where there's so much excitement when you're playing, but when you're 30 years old, you're an old person. You've worn out your knees, you've broken your ankles. Often you come back home broken up and broke with no place to go. Life, Isaiah Thomas is a businessman beyond the playing field. Magic Johnson, a businessman beyond the said athletes must seize this moment, move ahead, not rise high and fall low. They have a right to rise high and go higher. On that Tuesday morning, we're having a business breakfast. There are 3 major projects in Chicago, $20 billion. One, the Lincoln Park development. One, O'Hara Airport. Another one, the Obama Library. And another one on the west side, $20 billion. Those 3 chairs of those divisions will be at the breakfast. We're going to talk about financial services. We're going to have leaders there from the major banks of America. So we want our share of capital, industry, technology, and deal flow. Say capital, industry, technology, and deal flow. Beyond slavery, beyond segregation, beyond the right to vote, access to capital, and deal flow. If you want to be a volunteer, meet me here along with Reverend Jeanette Wilson, 6 o'clock Tuesday night. We need volunteers. So we need volunteers. I want you to, if you want to help stop the violence in your community, say we need volunteers. Help stop the killing. The mayor cannot do it by herself. We need you to help. Join us and help with our convention. You may contact us today here at 50th and Drexel Boulevard, or stop by when the broadcast is over today and give us some volunteer time. We need men and women to stand together and save our children. There's nothing too hard for God. Nothing too hard for God. Put your hands together one more time. I want the choir to sing, but I must make one exception. Maria Pappas, come up here, please. No one has done more to save people's homes than Maria Pappas. Put your hands together for Maria. Many people with lack of information and they're losing their homes. Every home in Chicago that's up with tax schemes take them. She has a person working here full time. Maria, tell them about the tax challenge. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. First of all, let me say something. I'm going to be 70 this week, so give me a big round. Hey, I'm a senior citizen, so don't mess with me. So here's the deal, and this is really important. We just had a tax sale. 2,500 homes in this city, and I don't have to tell you what neighborhoods they were in, were sold for under $1,000. Criminal. Rosa Pritchett from my office is now stationed here Tuesdays, noon to 7, Wednesdays, noon to 5, Friday, noon to 5, and Saturdays, 10 to 2. Why? We are gathering everyone that we can get our hands on to come here. She has a computer. She puts your address in it, and she will tell you if you're one of those people who are what we call the most vulnerable to have that house sold, or in many instances, there are people whose homes are on the tax sale list, but they are missing 4 years of homeowners and 4 years of senior exemptions. That's $4,000. They're on the tax sale list for owing $1,000, about to be sold, but I owe them $4,000. Rosa's going to tell you if you are one of those people. We are gathering churches. We are gathering the aldermen. We are gathering commissioners. Anyone who can make it, just get to push. Don't come downtown. It's ridiculous to come to the county building. You take your life in your hands coming downtown today. Just get to push. Nothing's going to happen to you, and we will sort your problems out. Big round of applause for...
National Service. Let's hear for our gospel choir. National Gospel Service Choir.
Thank you. Thank you, Nelson Gospel Choir from Sweden. Thank you for being our guest and visiting with us today. I'd like to thank Reverend Derek Anderson and Centennial for opening the doors of his church and receiving them this past week. And I'd like to thank the great Brian Jones of Samaritan Gospel Church, an outstanding musician who's continuing on in his father's footsteps, making a place on the south side of Chicago for our guests from Sweden today. We thank you, Reverend Brian Jones. I would like to reiterate everything my father just said regarding an appeal for our convention. Our convention is June 28th through July 2nd here in Chicago. It's important that we convene all of our allies, colleagues, friends, and supporters, convening at the convention time. Why is that necessary? Because our children are graduating from school. They've gone through the math and science programs. They're orators, they're writers, they're readers. They can do many things. But now they're coming up against this odorless, colorless, invisible wall of racism. This invisible wall of sexism. This wall that is stopping their natural progression. And I see young African-American teen suicide on the rise. Where is this coming from? Our children are now not knowing the things of their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. They're not having the grit. They don't understand the gospel. So we ask that you continue to pray for these young people, and we let people know that the gospel is real. We thank this Swedish choir again. What are they doing here on the south side of Chicago? What are they doing in the heart of the African American community? Well, we share the same God, and he is not limited to race. And my message today is, as I ask you to support our convention, register. If you have a child in college, if you have a child that's a teenager that is unemployed, you need to be a part of the convention. I am so tired of people telling me what my father, Reverend Jesse Jackson, hasn't done, what Reverend Jesse Jackson ought to do, what African American leadership should be doing, what the church ought to be doing. Why doesn't all leaders get together? And I ask them, why haven't you done something? Now that I've heard your soliloquy on all that we should be doing, could be doing, ought to be doing, why don't you do something other than complain? My message today is seeing the whole picture and why we need to organize for a convention. Why we need to see the whole picture and organize for this convention. We have a leader in the highest office of our land that is impetulant. We see the Prime Minister of Germany speaking at the Harvard graduation, saying that she is concerned that America is no longer a reliable ally. We see trade sanctions going up in China off previous agreed terms and conditions of engagement. We see our largest trading partner to the south in Mexico being hit with tariffs on immigration issues that they cannot fully control. We have a young and petulant leader in the White House that finds it necessary in order to call people names. He is setting the tone. He is setting the tone on high. He's setting the tone for our children's behavior. How can you kick someone out of the military that is attacking a woman when the president says you can grab them? How can you charge our children with assault when the person that's the highest person in the land says you can grab a woman? I want you to see the whole picture. So now when the state of Louisiana puts their hands on women's reproductive rights, it started with the president. When you have 9 states that are now attacking the sovereignty, the legitimacy of a woman's body, it started with the president. Be clear. I need you to see the whole picture. When this man first started running, the rich young ruler, when you saw him put out a full-page ad and say that 5 teenage African-American boys had attacked a white woman in Central Park, and people can turn a blind eye and look past that behavior. And then after those young teenagers became men and were exonerated, they never were guilty. They never should have been exonerated. They weren't wrongfully convicted. They were kidnapped. I want you to see the whole picture. When you can turn a blind eye to a man that can do that, then when he comes back for your reproductive rights, I need you to see the whole picture. Their lives is just as important as the rights that a woman has to her body. When you see the state legislator in Louisiana start this, where they say that after a heartbeat is detected, within the first 6 weeks of a pregnancy, these men get together in order to pass a law that says not even in the case of rape and incest can you do away or abort that fetus. Well, men do not have to live with the consequence of a rape. Men have not had to carry the burden of incest. Carrying that child to term, to see that child every day after you know the perpetrator impregnated you. I need you to see the whole picture. As we celebrate this convention, this is the 400th year of Africans in the America. Somebody's going to change channels now and go to sleep. You said 400 years. Stay up with me. Now, the less I hear from you, the longer I talk. The more I hear from you, the less I talk. It's been 400 years. That ties in to this very day. Sweden abolished slavery in 1813. The United States had the Emancipation Proclamation written in 1863. Sweden was getting out and away from slavery 50 years before the United States of America. That's why I'm happy to see our guest today from Sweden. I'm on the side of the abolitionists in history. Don't stop there. When you look at what's happened with the slave ship Clotilda. Clotilda, the last known slave ship to land in the United States of America. We officially said we abolished slavery in 1808 with the importation of Africans that had been enslaved. But we know that in 1860, a slave ship between the fall of 1859 and that of 1860, newly discovered, landed in Africatown, Alabama, the same state that Martin Luther King had to launch his prophetic drive for civilian rights for all of Americans. Slave ship Clotilda, we're just now finding about. It's been 172 years since we've had the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., recording our history. This is the first time in our history that an African-American man, an African-American period, Dr. Lonnie Bunch, will head that institution. We're just now beginning to understand our history. Don't go to sleep on me. It was June 1st in 1921, on this very day, that we understood about the Tulsa, Oklahoma race riots. That was the most prosperous African-American community in the country, if not in the world. How did it start? They said there was a young black boy that whistled or looked at a Caucasian woman. He went down to the courthouse. We knew he had been set up. The community came out to show him some support. White mobs started saying there was violence. They destroyed the Tulsa, Oklahoma community in the race. On this day, in 1921, it was a conspiracy between the state and the local governments and the community. This did not even get investigated until 70 years later by the state of Oklahoma to recognize them. The whole picture is what I want you to understand. Come on up to today, when now we're talking about, with the assistance of our own treasurer, the Honorable Maria Pappas, she's coming out into the community. She does not look at holding public office as a 9-to-5 job. She is doing this as a public servant. She is coming to the community right here in the heart of the South Side. She's not from this community. She respects this community enough to come and say, your houses are being stolen. This platform, this forum that my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, put together is open for the rainbow. All those truth and honest and just seeking people. Come and tell our people what we need to know. We need to see more legislators, more elected officials to come in here. Tell the people the truth. People's houses are being taken for $1,000. She has many more ideas on how to return people's properties. She can't do it by herself. She's telling you don't pay downtown parking. I'm bringing the services to the community. Right downstairs at 930 East 50th Street, they've returned over $70,000 from her treasury, saying it's the people's money. My parents didn't know they qualified. All you have to do is come in here, type in your address, and the treasurer can tell you right now if the county owes you some money. I want you to see the whole picture. I don't want you to be confused on race and color and creed and what's happening on the highest part of our land. Our houses are being stolen. Our children are being locked out of schools. This fight is not over yet. And for the sake of your children and your grandchildren and the legacy that you're going to leave behind, I want to ask you a question. I've seen death a lot this past week. I've read a lot of obituaries most recently. What is yours going to read like? What did you do? Went to work, came home, went on Amazon Prime, got on Facebook, commented, posted, Snapchat, went to the mall, came back. You were very comfortable. And you wonder why the seats at your funeral are going to be empty. I asked a friend of mine, Reverend A.R. Leak, who did a marvelous job with the Nehemiah Project. Give him a loving round of applause. I want to highlight the good that we see in our community. Here's an undertaker that housed my mother and father when they were students that came to work for Reverend Martin Luther King. The undertaker, Spencer Leak Sr., who was driving Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. around when it wasn't popular or fashionable. The undertaker, A.R. Leak Funeral Homes and Sons, he went and did a gospel concert saying he wants to see the violence go down. He's tired of burying teenage children. And he does it for free. He helps so many. The undertaker, Reverend Spencer Leak Jr., doesn't want your money. He wants to see your child alive. I love Reverend Leak. in conclusion, on seeing the whole picture, my brothers and sisters, we are marching towards our destiny. It's been 400 years of Africans in the Americas. It's been 100 years since the 1919 race riots right here in Chicago, where we couldn't go north of the 31st Street beach, where there was a rope in the middle of the beach where blacks could go and whites could go. And when a black floated above the beach, people started throwing rocks at stones and killed him. We've seen this before. We've just now found out about the slave ship Clotilda. We've seen our Swedish brothers and sisters come over to America to make a stand for justice and make a stand for righteousness. I'm asking us, get involved with this convention. We've got very little time. The course that the current administration is on, it's going to be years in the unwinding and the undoing and the unmaking of the damage that's been done. When the president, the prime minister of Germany says, you all are going in the wrong direction. When the president of Mexico says, you all are going in the wrong direction. In a world of 7.7 billion people, when the United States has 330 million people, when we're no longer the economic sun that's driving all of the GDP, 70% in the world, we are an economic planet. And while we're sitting over here arguing and locking children out of school and clamping down and going against women and their birthrights and their natural human rights, they now are going fast forward in China. They're spending $126 billion on high-speed rail. We're spending $8 billion on high-speed rail. They've put 142 kilometers of infrastructure of mass transit into New Delhi, and we can't even get the South Side connected to the downtown right here in the city of Chicago. We need to have a convention where our children, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers come out. This life is not over. You're going to be held accountable. And I'm going to ask you, and what will your obituary say? What did you do?
People keep on yawning, yeah. Soldiers keep on warring, yeah. Well, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Yeah, listen now. Powers, you keep on lying to me in my face. My people, y'all, don't stop dying. No. Whoa, keep on turning. Oh, it won't be too long, yeah. Yeah. Listen now. Oh, so glad that you let me try it again. Last time on earth, I lived the whole world to send y'all. So glad that I know more than I knew then. We got to keep on trying till we reach higher ground. Yeah. Y'all say with me. Higher ground. Higher ground. Oh, higher ground. Oh, higher ground. Oh, so glad that you let me try it again. Last time on earth, I lived the whole world to sin now. So glad that I know more than I knew then. We got to keep on trying till we reach higher ground. Hey.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Hands together. Maurice Mahan. Higher ground.
Higher ground.
Higher ground. Higher ground.
Higher ground. Y'all sing it with me. Higher ground. Higher ground. Oh, higher ground.
Express my thanks to you for your support across the years. We've been in this building for 47 years. Nelson Mandela spoke here, and Harold Washington spoke here, Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., and Gus Savage, and Charlotte Hayes. So many people across the years. This has been a kind of refuge, a place from which we launch great ideas. Your movements for action for registration and jobs, and just another building is about to collapse under the heavy, heavy rain and winter this winter in Chicago. We need to raise $1 million for a restoration campaign. Churches, please take up a donation for us, our individuals. Church made the push. People United to Serve Humanity. People United to Serve Humanity is a tax-exempt organization. This is a Rainbow Push, is a push in effect as a church. We need your support today.
Thank you for tuning in to our International Saturday morning broadcast. We need your support. Here are ways to give to Rainbow Push Coalition. Text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to pound 41444 to support the work of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and Rainbow Push Coalition. When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
Brothers and sisters,
We're convening the family.
A massive civil rights movement. We're going to change our condition.
400 years later, we're repairing the damage done. We invite you to register for the Rainbow Push Coalition Annual International Convention, June 28th through July 2nd. For more information and a complete schedule of times and events, please visit rainbowpush.org.
Get involved with the movement.
somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Join the movement.
If you're not a member, become a member.
I am somebody. Fighting the most important battles for freedom and justice for all.
You made us change. Oh, trying to bring closer.
Join Rainbow Push.
But you're not pushing me away.
Join the movement. Join Rainbow Push.
Judge Adams has a swipe machine here. You give Lisa $100, please stand. Drink House is in the house. Florida A&M man. I asked Brother Gilmore would he help chair our reconstruction. We're in the reconstructing our building, so we're upstairs in the community hall. Look like Judge Bush, Judge Benetta Bush. Give her a hand, please. Judge Benetta Bush, give her a hand. Send people. Brother Gilmore, 250. His brothers and sisters say, we know, without a doubt, Maria Pappas has money. She should give. You give this $100, please. Say you give $100, please. I never seen a woman work so hard to organize other people's houses. She could raise about 50 different race ethnic groups: Chinese, the Asian, the European, the African, the Caribbean. She's in the saving people's houses. Give her that. That's such a noble thing. You think you give at least $50, at least $50, at least $50, at least $50. Now, we have some special guests today, but sweet, before they sing one more song, I want y'all to give it a six. So y'all sing another song for us. We're going down the Pearls over. So we're going to the Pearls. We have a serious cornbread, green eating, lemonade drinking situation. If you're not yet given, please stand. I want you to do one thing for me. Hey, meet me Tuesday. You meet me Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Raise your hand. Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Raise your hand. We need volunteers Tuesday night. But I want you to do this for me. We have. We met with the mayor. We met with Superintendent Janet Jackson. We're going to register every high school seat. We're going to see Chicago. We'll set the pace for the nation. See, we will set the pace for the nation. See, we will set the pace for the nation. We register our children to vote. If you're not yet given yet, please stand. National Students Choir, I want y'all to stand and sing one more song, please. Brian, then I guess choir sing one more song. Keep standing. Our sweetest guests, they're collecting money and singing. You sound much better when you give money. It gives an extra gusto in your voice. Let's sing a gospel song. I want to have a little Swedish gospel music. Sing one of the gospel songs since y'all had it. Well, very, Jeanette. Come on, everybody. We're going to give our spirit. We're going to give each y'all one of these T-shirts. I want y'all to put them on. Give them T-shirt now.
Come on, clap your hands. Come on, clap your hands. Come on, clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. Come on, y'all. I just came to praise the Lord. All right, there we go. I didn't come in for no meeting. Didn't come in for no show. I just came to praise the Lord. I didn't come in for no meeting. Didn't come in for no show. Yeah, I came to praise Him. I came to praise Him. Anybody come to praise Him? Anybody come to praise Him? Let me see you clap your hands if you came to praise the Lord. Come on, clap your hands and let's praise the Lord. Come on, y'all. Everybody clap your hands. Come on, clap your hands. Clap it like you love Jesus. Clap it like you're born again. Has the Lord been good to you? What about you and you? You and you and you. You and you and you. We come praise Him. Praise His holy name. Everybody ought to praise. He woke you up this morning. Now you on your way, your praise Him. The Lord's been good to you. Shout hallelujah. Praise Him. Yeah. I came to praise Him. I came to praise Him. I came to praise Him. Well, I just came to praise the Lord. Oh, didn't come here for no meeting. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Each one of us, our guests, received a rainbow T-shirt. We'll give each one of our guests a rainbow T-shirt now. We'll put them on now. We'll take a picture outdoors. The T-shirts on. You let it sweet and tell us, pass them out now. Each choir member gets a T-shirt now. them on the gun. Jeanette. Put them on the gun.
Oh, happy days when Jesus was. Yeah, when Jesus was. Yeah,
Put them on.
He washed my sins away. Happy day. Oh, happy days.
Put them on.
Oh, happy days when Jesus was. Oh, when he was. When Jesus was. He washed my sins away. He taught me how to walk. My Lord, and he every day, my Lord, good God, I say, oh, happy days, oh, happy days, when Jesus was, yeah, when he was, yeah, when Jesus was, wash my sins away. It was a happy day. He taught me how to walk, fight, and pray. And live rejoicing every day. Yeah. My Lord, every day. Ooh, happy days, yeah. Oh, happy days.
What I want us to do now, I want us to prepare for our guests to go out front and take a picture in front of the building. Maurice, can Brian do that thing I like so much about Johnny Taylor? Can Brian do that? He can't do it. You do something else. Two long spinners. Maurice, he knows amen. Let everybody stand. Our special guests, we're so glad you guys lead them. Brother Derek, Brother Derek's guest left. Derek, Brother Hamilton, raise your hand. Lead them out and down. We're going to take a picture on the front steps. From the River, Derek Anderson. In the meantime, here's an amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Everybody sing amen. Amen. Sing it loud, oh, This little light of mine, I've got to let it shine. This light of mine, I've got to let it shine. This light of mine, oh, I've got to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.